All right, here we are in Cusco in Peru.
Dressed like bums because it's laundry day.
Yeah, but we definitely needed it. A lot of adventures over the past couple of weeks. But I think where we left off was Ken and Willa were coming to Peru to visit us. And Willa had spent a bunch of time in Peru before, and so she was really excited to go to the rainforest, and she wanted to camp in hammocks. And so she figured out a nice little 5-day, or supposedly 5-day trip through the Amazon, based out of, starting in Puerto Maldonado. And so, we took off from Lima and landed in Puerto Maldonado, and we were immediately hit by the good old humidity.
Oh, yeah, right. Out of the mountains, back into the jungle, and oh man, no, it was hot and it was humid, but it was all right. I think that first day, we took a boat, maybe 4 hours up the river.
Madre de Dios.
Yeah, inflated the pack rafts and started heading into this oxbow lake that Jeremy, the guide, knew about.
Yeah.
And things got a little hairy.
A little spicy for sure.
So we came off the main river into this narrow side river. And when we got to the entrance of the lake, there was a tree down across it. And several guys with shotguns.
Yeah.
Speaking Spanish. It was one of those situations where it's you can't tell how sketchy it is, but it could be really sketchy. So we just turned around. Seemed fine, right? Well, then we got pursued by them. So we figure, let's just make it out to the main river where, there are other people around. Mm-hmm. And it never seemed like we were in that much trouble, but it's hard to know. And I think the point where I finally realized, okay, this is going to be fine, is we got back out to the main river. There were 2 other boats blocking us, but one of the boats was full of the women from the local village, and so you're okay, I don't know. And so anyways, it was hilarious because Jeremy just keeps there's 3 power boats and a group on an ATV, and Jeremy just keeps floating away from them in a raft. And so we finally talked to him and said, hey man, they're still pursuing us. We're not going to outrun them. I think we need to talk to them. And by we, I mean you, right? Because
our Spanish was not up to snuff.
Yeah, and it turned out fine. They just wanted to see our IDs. They took some photos of our IDs.
But that resulted in us being a little delayed in kind of setting up camp. So we ended up having to set up camp at night, and it was our first time setting up hammocks in the jungle, which is pretty intense. First you have to take just a big knife and just clear everything, which
a machete, if you will.
Yeah, and cut everything out of the way, and then you have to set up the tents, put the tarps over it, and then cook dinner. And the first night was the coolest night, but there was also just a bunch of mosquitoes. We all got beat, a bunch of bites and stuff like that. And I think poor Ken has never actually left the United States.
Hadn't really camped before.
Yeah, never camped before. It was definitely hard mode.
I mean, I feel I'm not that soft, but it was I was not enjoying myself. I mean, it gets dark at 6, so all the bugs come out, right? And so you get into the hammock, which not really comfortable. And then you're okay, this is great. You're getting bitten through the bottom of the hammock, which is just a thin sheet of fabric, right? And so it's hot, it's humid. I think it was 75 degrees at night, and around 100 during the day. There's a ton of bugs, so I can't sleep because it's hot and it's humid, right? But I feel like a prisoner, I can't leave this hammock because I'm going to get destroyed by mosquitoes. And even if I could, you're in the jungle at night, you can't see anything, right? It's not I think where we had been in some of the alpine lakes where you see the moon and you watch the sunrise and stuff like that. So I knew if I wasn't having fun, I was pretty sure Ken wasn't having fun.
Poor child.
He was only there for a week. I didn't really want to suffer through the week. I certainly didn't want to make him suffer through the week. So we ended up getting the hell out of there in the morning. We packed up and hailed one of the like taxi boats real quick. Made it back to Puerto Maldonado. Jumped on a flight to Cusco, which is like 11,000 foot altitude. So it's nice and cool here. And yeah,
definitely less humid too.
Yeah, we had a good time. We did like Laguna Humantai, which is just like another really beautiful alpine lake. And then, Ken and I headed to Machu Picchu, because the weather was good. It's rainy season, but we've been really lucky. So we took the train into Machu Picchu, got to Aguas Calientes, which is actually like a pretty interesting town.
Yeah.
And then we had great weather for Machu Picchu, and I usually don't like very touristy things. I would say Machu Picchu is pretty touristy, but like it's stunning.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the wonders of the world, for a reason. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
I think meanwhile you and Willow are still in the jungle.
Yeah, we stayed in the jungle. The first night wasn't as bad for us. We were able to get some sleep. And the second night we actually stayed in this like super nice eco lodge that had like hot water in the showers and cold water to drink and like real beds and stuff. And so we were able to reset and see a bunch of animals and stuff like that. I think the first night we saw we went to a tapir lick, which are like these kind of like anteater looking guys. We stayed up late trying to see like a small bobcat that never actually came, but it was still like super beautiful. We were able to shower, do laundry. The next night we got into an actual oxbow lake and we got to see otters. I got to see the biggest like alligator of my entire life and a bunch of wild monkeys, spider monkeys and howler monkeys. And Willa saw a boar, which was really cool, but it was just like, though you couldn't see anything, it was just nice like being in the jungle. You could hear so much stuff, and it is like the biodiversity capital of like Peru and a lot of South America, so we were able to see a bunch of really cool animals.
Yeah, and then we met back up in Lima, which when we first flew into Lima like 3 weeks ago,
we were like, "Yo, this place sucks."
Yeah, we flew into the airport, drove straight north to Juarez, and all we saw was like, we didn't see anything nice.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's a good thing we're not spending any time here. But it turns out like Lima is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, and like of the like top 50 restaurants in the world, like 5 or 6 of them in the San Pellegrino list are in Lima. So it's actually like a pretty hype food scene.
Yeah.
And as you just go south from the airport, which we didn't do until like our second or third time in Lima, we realized like, wow, there's actually some like really cool restaurants, really nice parks.
Amazing ceviche, amazing seafood.
Yeah.
And then I know like Ken and I had a chance to walk around a bunch and say, there's a lot of neat old buildings, like nice architecture in the center. We got to visit the catacombs, which was pretty cool. And then so after we met up, we came back to Cusco. More fun food. We had cuy.
That was actually so good. Like I want to eat it again.
I know. Same. It's like, so cuy is guinea pig, and I like the way they make it. The skin is so crispy. It honestly like is, I think, better than Peking duck.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. So from Lima, we went to Cusco, planned to do Sakante, but instead, thank God we did this. We just decided to send it directly to Machu Picchu via train and do the Huayna Picchu hike too, which is like the best view because you get to just see the entire thing and also some other buildings just built there. It was crazy. I mean, the views were just perfect.
And we were like the first group in.
We had the whole place to ourselves, which was amazing.
Yeah. Quite an experience. I'm so glad we did it.
Yeah. It was a lot of long mornings in a row, though.
Yeah, and so we kind of slept in the next day. But we still wanted to do some stuff because we had a few days here in Cusco. And, we had heard, like, Rainbow Mountain's really pretty.
Yeah.
Alsangate is really pretty. It's a mountain that's, over 20,000 foot tall and a bunch of lakes around it. And we could see on the Garmin that, they're not that far apart.
Yeah,
so we figured
it was like 5 miles in between them.
And so we ended up doing them as a day trip. It was one of maybe the hardest.
I think it was the hardest.
I think it was the hardest hike. I think it was also the best hike.
Yeah.
15 and a half miles 5,000 foot of vert and an average elevation somewhere between 15 and 16,000 foot.
All right, Justin, where are we?
Made it to Apachita Pass at 16,000 foot. Got Asangate behind us. We hiked here from Rainbow Mountain, which we couldn't get a tour company to let us do it because they were all like, it's not
They said
possible.
It was too hard, even though the trails existed. It honestly wasn't that bad.
No, we made it 4 hours here. We've got another 8 hours to get back, so plenty of time.
And the views are fucking
holy shit,
stunning.
Like definitely top 5, maybe
top 3,
maybe top hike.
Yeah, actually that's true. I mean, even the ride here was super nice. The background is super nice.
And we had our friend, we had a dog
guide
down there. There's
I don't know if you can see him.
A black dog somewhere down there who literally led us all 7.5 of these miles.
And what is there not to love about a nice blue alpine lake?
So yeah, I mean, it was definitely my favorite hike. I think the amazing views, that dog that just literally led us the whole way.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So awesome. You know, we saw a bunch of llamas and alpacas just walking through, just roaming freely.
We saw some like squirrels or hamsters.
Yeah, a lot of weird wildlife. And I think I've definitely learned over the course of this trip that I prefer much cooler weather. I was like way happier in the snow during that hike than I was, in that 75-degree night in the jungle.
Yeah. That makes a bunch of sense. But we still have a bunch of cool stuff planned. The trip's coming to an end pretty quick. We've got like 3 weeks left. But next week we're heading to Bolivia. So tomorrow we fly out to Lima. We have a couple days to just get our lives in order, make sure we have all our visas set up and everything. And then from Bolivia, we go down to meet my parents, my brother, and Angela in Patagonia in Puerto Natales.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah. Until next time.